Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Cool.
Nele Steenput. Is that
Steenput.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. So it's so nice to meet you, Nele.
You too.
We don't really know each other, so you could introduce yourself. You could tell the people watching who you are, what you do, and I
hmm
think you work in the games industry. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, I do. So my name is Nele. I work currently for a company called Cooperative Innovations, and we were based in Leeds, but now since the lockdown started, like we're kind of like work from home, so we're kind of spread all around Yorkshire, like Sheffield and other parts of Leeds and stuff. And we make multiplayer VR games. Most like recently we released Space Team VR. It's like based on a mobile game, which is fun to play if you have like a VR headset. Um, and so I make the characters for the games, and I also do like some like art direction and like helping out the other artists, like what they have to do, and like if they need anything, and like kind of stay in line with the art style. And that's my job.
Mhm. So I've had a look at some of these games. So there's Raiders of Erda and Space
Yeah,
Team. And Space
yeah,
Team is very much virtual reality. And if you're
yeah,
lucky
yeah,
enough to have one of those Oculus headsets and the controllers, they're very much about collaboration and being in the
yeah.
space with other people and
Exactly.
all of that.
And
Looks
and
like
the
it's
cool
real
thing
fun.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is because it tracks like your head movements and your hands. So you pick a character that you want to be, and you move around your hands and your head, and you talk, and you see people's lips moving and like moving around and stuff. So if you play with like family and friends, like people you can actually tell who they are, even if they're not speaking, because you know what they do, like because you know them. It's pretty cool. Like, and I found it quite fun, like because we're all working from home now, to see my colleagues in VR with like some crazy accessories and stuff. So yeah,
That's
it's definitely a lot of fun.
That's interesting in a couple of ways because I was reading something the other day that there are a small percentage of the population who they find it difficult to recognize other people's faces, but they can recognize
Yeah,
their body movements and the way they walk.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
and the other thing I was thinking about as well, because you said at the moment we're in this extended lockdown, Corona, COVID,
mm,
with things like VR, you can be anywhere, can't you, with your friends?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that is one thing at the moment. I mean, we're recording this online because there is no other way at the moment that we could practically do this interview. So it's not just the future; it is here right now,
oh yeah,
and
definitely.
it will definitely, I imagine, be a more prominent feature of games. One thing I noticed, you need an Oculus headset, and they are quite expensive at the moment. But I imagine, like a lot of technologies, the prices will come down and they'll be wider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Oculus released like headsets. There's a Quest, and now there's a Quest 2, which got released like yesterday, I think. Or was it today? I don't remember. But anyways, so those are like the price of like a games console, and you don't need a PC or anything. You just need the headset, and it works like on like a phone, basically. That you download like the games onto it, you put it on, and you play, and that's it. And so, which makes it a lot more accessible because you can just literally be anywhere, like in your bedroom and your living room or the garden and stuff, and it works
And,
fine.
and in the game, the characters they have avatars, and you said you talk about how these are designed, the characters, but I suppose this also has real world applications as well. Like, if you're meeting with your doctor, health professional, meeting with colleagues, it does apply to those things. And who knows, maybe if we're having
Yeah.
interviews like this in the future, we will be in the same space in one way or other.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fascinated to know how you ended up on this journey, because some of the people watching this today will be 11, 12, 13.
Mm.
And I'm trying to imagine, what were you doing at 12, 13, 14? And did you make certain decisions then that if it influenced, you on this journey?
Not really then. Like I was, when I was that age, like 12 to 14, I was interested in computers, but like scripting more and making websites. And I was like, like basic stuff like HTML, CSS kind of stuff. And I like pictures, and like I just made websites with lots of pictures basically. And so I wasn't really thinking of like games or yeah, doing 3D in general. Like that just seemed like something that was just like, I don't know, like not something I could do. Like it's a lot easier now, a lot more accessible. Back then it's just like websites, cool, yeah. So I did, because I'm from Belgium, so I did a bachelor's in Belgium, which was about making websites and web design, and it's what I ended up doing then. I became a web designer, and I worked for 2 years as a web designer. And then I thought, like, actually, I'm not having fun anymore. Like, this is not what I want to keep doing for the rest of, like, for many, many years. So during my course, my bachelor course, we dabbled a little bit in 3D. And I actually thought, this is kind of fun. Like, maybe I want to do more of that, but I didn't know where to start. So I thought, like, I heard from someone about a master course in Bournemouth, in the UK, obviously, and it was more aimed at like 3D animation, but they taught us a bit about like modeling, texturing, like everything else to do with 3D. And I was like, okay, you know what, this is interesting. So I quit my job, and it was a master's as well, which is just the 1 year. So it just seemed ideal because I had a bachelor degree already. So yeah, I went to go and do 3D in the UK.
So these are decisions that you made later in life, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
imagine, when you were in your teenage years. So I think based on what you said, you wouldn't been one of those children in school who really stood out as being geeky or tech. You probably were just happy to be part of the crowd and probably make safe decisions, not too many risks at that point.
Well, I did a bit of everything. Like, I liked scripting. It was when, like all those old messenger, like MSN and stuff were becoming a thing. Like, we didn't even have Facebook or YouTube. It was just like, yeah, ICQ, MSN, that kind of stuff. And actually, like my classmates, they thought I was a bit weird, that I was like into computers to begin with, like just computers. And I was like, well, like it's normal. Like, and I kind of like used because we had like a calculator, like smart calculator, and you could put in, like, I put in my maths formulas in there, and I like made a script to just kind of like give me the solution. And so I was just like, well, there you go. Like, I'm just, like, you laugh at me, but actually I'm able to do this. So so I showed them.
That sounds cool, though, because what you're doing is you're recognizing the potential that certain tools have to help you, and you're thinking, well, I don't need to do this on paper. I can use something I have available to me.
Exactly.
So would you say that you've had a smooth journey into working in video games, or have there been a few curveballs or obstacles on the way? Oh, there have. Okay, tell us about some.
So I work as a character artist now, but it was just what I wanted to do when I graduated from Bournemouth. But I worked as a 3D artist first, so just making like anything in 3D. And it's not easy to find work as a 3D artist in the games industry. Like, often, like, uni doesn't prepare you enough to find a job straight out of uni. So you have to do a lot of like work yourself, and like work on your portfolio a lot, especially with like characters. There's a lot that is important, that you have to know, like anatomy and all that. So there's a lot of like studying that you still need to do. And so after I graduated from uni, I worked in VFX for a little bit, just doing little bits and pieces to do with 3D. And then I worked in augmented reality, and they hired me because I had like web design experience. So I had to do a bit of everything. I had to do a bit of of graphics and 3D and a bit of scripting. And all the while I was working on my portfolio in the evenings, just so I could be like a 3D artist or character artist in the games industry. And I thought first I wanted to go into animation, but then I met more and more people working in the games industry, and I was in London, and all these people seemed so passionate and creative, and it seemed a lot more like that was what I wanted to do. And that's how I thought, like, oh, actually, I want to work in the games industry, and I should tailor my portfolio to fit that, because making 3D art for games is different than for VFX and animation and all that. So I had to figure out like what it was I had to do, and what my portfolio, what kind of art I had to put in my portfolio to be able to get a job in the games industry, basically.
So it sounds like it has been an uphill struggle in many ways, and you've had to really stick at it. And I'm sure you had relatives and friends saying, Nele, wouldn't you just rather do something a little bit easier, like work in a shop or a cafe or something like that? You were like, no, I know what I'm doing. Just trust me.
Yeah. My parents have always kind of supported me in my decisions, but I did have like family members say like, why don't you, like, move back to Belgium and find a real job? I'm like, I have a real job. What are you talking about? Like, I do make cool things. And I guess to some, it doesn't seem like that's like a viable career. Like, can you actually make money by making pretty things for games? Is that a thing? I was like, yeah, it is. And I earn money now doing it. So yeah, it is pretty cool that you get to do like your hobby basically as a job.
I have to say as well, I'm a little bit curious because you know, I would say you sound very European. You've traveled around a lot. Why not go somewhere like London or Paris or Milan or New York? If you know, because they also do create video games. Instead, you chose to come and work in Leeds, in Yorkshire. What was it about Leeds that attracted you?
I don't know. Like, I like the people in Yorkshire a lot. Like, I wasn't sure when I moved, because I was living in London and Oxford before I moved to Leeds. And like, because I had a few friends up north, and not necessarily Leeds, but like Yorkshire and Middlesbrough, and then even more up north, like Newcastle. And it doesn't really matter that much. Like, there's studios all over the place, and there's events, like games events going on like all year round in London and in the Midlands and in Birmingham and Manchester, all that. So there's, and even up in,
Bradford?
Yeah, Bradford and Middlesbrough.
Exactly,
yeah. So there's plenty going on, and you could still travel to see, because when there was like games events going on, like I just traveled down south or wherever, and just to catch up with friends as well. And we all saw each other like working in the games industry, so they're all there and they're like, how you doing, etc. And at the same time seeing like what games they've been making and stuff. So it's really like, it's same with like other countries. There's other events going on, games events in the rest of Europe, but for me, like, I've been living in the UK for like 10 years. So all my friends are there, like my life is in the UK, so it just made sense to stay. But yeah.
So I've got just two more questions today.
Yes.
One of them is, I was thinking, so we talked about pandemic and being confined, working from home.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say in a month or two, things are starting to ease and we're going back to some sense of normality. For you, it's yes, yeah. It strikes me, though, that video games development, characters, it's not just your work. For you, it sounds like it's very much part of what you do. And I can imagine that you might be hanging out with other people outside of your sort of work hours and maybe going places. Are there certain things in and around Leeds, maybe as far as Bradford, that you might gravitate to with your friends? Like, a meetup, a particular venue? Can you think of anywhere you've been or you might like to go?
Well, I have been to Gamayo quite a lot. That's the biggest one in Yorkshire. That was like half yearly. I think it's online now, but that was always pretty fun. And a lot of people from I think all over the UK come to Gamayo. And then there's Animex in Cambridge, which is organized by people from or associated with Teesside University. So there's that one. I think Animex is online now. I'm not sure when exactly it is, but it's like around now, I believe, and it's online as well. So we just like join that. What else? There's in Manchester. There was a lot of things going on as well. So I would often go to Manchester from Leeds, which was easy enough in the evenings. And there's some BAFTA-related things in Manchester from UK Games Industry.
UK Interactive Entertainment is
Thank you.
UK, yeah, that's right.
I felt a bit embarrassed. I couldn't remember what it stood for. But yeah, like they organize events as well around the country, and they did a few in Manchester that I attended, where like CEOs from other studios came to give a talk and stuff, and then we just meet up and hang out, and like I think there's a few local meetups in Manchester too. Not sure about Leeds though, but yeah, Gamio is the biggest one. Like
So
Jamie Sefton, he organizes a few events for that.
Yes, yeah. And so the final question, somebody might be watching this and be really inspired, and they want to do some of the things that you've done, but they're 13, 14, so traveling to Manchester, Cambridge, Newcastle is not really going to be feasible for them. So they've decided they're going to do a particular course online, or they're going to ask a book. Now, some people would say, oh, Unity or Maya or something like that. Would you say that there's a particular kind of route or study this is for them to learn themselves at home, online, or whatever, that would be useful to them? They wouldn't be too confined or restricted. Is there something that you would suggest or recommend?
I feel like if you're like 14, you should just do what you think is the most fun to you. Like if you feel like if you've stumbled across Unity and you've found some tutorials online like YouTube and stuff to do Unity, then you should do Unity. If you feel like you should do like more Unreal, then try Unreal Engine, and same with like using Maya or Blender or any kind of 3D software that you come across, or ZBrush, which is used more by character artists if you like making characters in 3D. It just depends, and just try and see what you like best, like what's the most fun to you. Like don't do something because you think it's the most popular thing, or even like a style or anything. Like just do whatever you like to do and experiment a lot, because it doesn't matter really. Like especially when you're still young and you can try out things, and it like just try and experiment as much as you can and just keep it fun really.
And what even about just pen and paper? People who might envisage they're going into character design, just fine liners and notebooks, and trying to look at other people and sketch them and then imagine turning those into fantasy characters. Yeah,
totally. Like the 2D artists, so pen and paper, or even like drawing on in Photoshop or an iPad, if you have one or your parents have one, or just anything, it's all fine. Like that's actually like a career path as well. So and I had to do some what they call like life drawing as well, so sketching other people and just to learn anatomy and stuff, like, because it helped me to become a better character artist. So definitely, like anything.
Nele, your story, your journey, all of your tips and techniques, that's really, really, really helpful. So thank you. It's been a real pleasure to chat to you today, and we're going to go off now and visit something else, but Thank you. So let's just say
you're
goodbye.
Welcome. Bye.
Bye. And
okay.